This year is going to be the year that you start real estate investing. Real estate investing is one of the most powerful methods out there to build wealth, especially generational wealth. And I get it, it seems scary and intimidating, but in this video, I'm going to go over 6 steps on how to get started and buy your first rental property this year. Hola, I am Violeta, host of the Money Chisme podcast, where I talk real estate investing, entrepreneurship, and just have other money talks. Now, real estate investing is something that you don't necessarily want to like just stumble across on. Even though I did that, I ended up accidentally getting into real estate investing. I didn't know that's what I was doing. But let me tell you, there was a lot of hard lessons learned that I want to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. And that's why I am sharing these 6 steps, because these are steps that I learned the hard way throughout my journey. And I'm sharing them with you so that way you can get out there and buy your first rental property, but also become a successful real estate investor. So number one, before you even start about buying your first rental property, this is where I failed, was that I didn't have a vision, a goal, and I didn't have the right mindset. Because real estate investing isn't just about making money, it is about creating wealth, and especially generational wealth, and setting yourself up and maybe future generation for financial abundance and wealth building. And that's the first thing you need to figure out is, why are you investing in real estate? Why do you want to build this wealth? And, it could range from, you want to be just super rich, you want to have a huge portfolio and just have a lot of money to do whatever you want, buy your luxury things, and that's okay. Or maybe you just want that extra income just to have as a cushion, so that way you don't have to stress about paying bills or anything like that. Or maybe you want to leave something for your kids on top of building cash flow. So, whatever it is, figure it out, because that's going to affect what kind of properties you invest in, the strategy that you want to go for. And this is what's going to keep you on track throughout your journey, because you have your why. And then the next thing you want to do is create goals from that why and your vision. So one thing I like to do is that I close my eyes and I think about future me in maybe 5, 10 years. What is she doing? Is she, out there in Spain drinking mimosas? Like, what is she doing? Future me is out there in El Rancho. She has some chickens. I'm growing my own food. Estoy tomando café outside. And I'm just like listening to music, watching the chickens, the dog, my daughter running around. And I just get to have these slow mornings, these slow days, and get to do what I want, like this podcast, live life the way I want to live. So that's why I am investing in real estate. Step number 2 is finances. You want to audit your money and also figure out how you're going to buy your first rental property. So, the first one, you want to audit yourself, your finances, look at your budget. If you don't have a budget or a spending plan, I like to call it a spending plan, because a budget sounds more restrictive, and the spending plan feels more like strategic and planned out and all that. So, whichever one you want to use, the point is you have to have one, because you need to know where your money is going, because that skill is a very important skill to build on whenever you have your rental property, because you got to manage your expenses, your income, all that stuff. So, you want to start getting into the habit now. But not only that, this will give you a clear idea of where you stand, what is your starting point, because you can't get nowhere and get to the finish line without a starting line, right? So here, you know what your credit score is, look at your debt, figure out what you can reduce, what you can pay off, because this is going to affect your debt to income ratio, which is known as DTI, which is just how much debt in comparison to the income that you bring in. How much debt do you have compared to that? And lenders look at this to determine how risky you are to lend to. And so it's a qualifying thing. So you want to make sure that you lower your DTI. And you want to look at your credit score, pull that credit report, go through it, and make sure that everything that is in there is yours. And if there's anything that's not supposed to be in there, that you dispute it and get that fixed before you go out there and try to get a loan. And if you don't have a good credit score, you build up to it. Like, take your time in fixing these things and setting your foundation. It's not a race. You will get there. You just need a little bit more time, and just fix your credit. There are lenders out there that, and loans out there that you can qualify if you have a not so good credit score, but you get the best interest rates when you have a good credit score. You don't have to have an excellent credit score, but the better rates are between very good and excellent. The other thing to look at is, do you have enough for a down payment? How much do you need for a down payment? And if you don't, like, how much do you need to save a month or whatever time frame you want to set yourself? How much do you need to set aside? How much extra do you need to bring in? And just create a plan on how you're going to come up with that money. Is it you're going to go work extra side hustles on the weekend, or maybe you're just going to cut back on some things until you get that down payment? Whatever it is, create your plan on how to get your down payment. Usually it is 20 to 25% for an investment loan. I always have to have 25%. So I would shoot for 25% if you do not plan to live in the property. If you're just going to go ahead and go outright and rent it out. But if you plan to like house hack or anything like that, then there's other loans out there that require less, like almost 0% for like VA home loans, which is the loans that I use. And FHA loans, you can do like as little as 3.5%. But I do want to put like a little side note. There are creative ways to get a property. It's called creative financing. And it's just finding a creative way to pay or acquire a property. So this could be private money lenders or hard money lenders. A private lender is basically just someone that is not a bank or anything like that, a business that lends out money. So this could even be like your mom or dad or uncle or whoever that is okay with letting you borrow that money. A hard money lender is a business, but it's not like a bank. It's not a like official lender. So hard money lender is going to allow you to finance that property through them, but it's usually a short term, and also it is a higher interest rate because it's meant to be a short term. So those types of loans are geared towards buying a property that you might need to fix up, because a regular lender is not bank is not going to want to risk it. But just want to put out there that there are creative ways out there. Step 3 is finding your real estate investing strategy, like figuring out what's your style. Are you someone that wants to do like fix and flips? That's not my current vibe right now. I like long-term rentals. So I buy properties that I'm going to rent out for the long term. And at the moment, I do multifamily, which are like duplexes, triplexes, stuff like that, up to 4 units. But at the moment, I've just been finding like duplexes. But I first got started by house hacking and using the BRRRR method, which is buy, rehab, rent out, refinance, repeat, where you buy the house that might need a little, updates or something like that. It's not a full, complete rehab of fix and flip. and you live in it, fix it up as you go, then you move out, rent that place out, and then once you acquire enough or build up enough equity, then you cash refinance out the equity to buy another property, and then you do the same thing. So that's another strategy. And house hacking is basically just finding a way to make income off the house that you are currently living in. So, like for example, buying a duplex, you live on one side and rent out the other, things like that. Or maybe you have space, extra parking spaces, and you charge someone to park their RV there a month or something like that. So, or maybe you have land and someone needs to put some cows on it, and you're like, okay, I'll lease it out to you. Like any way that you can find to bring in income in a property that you are living in, that's called house hacking. Or, you could do the short-term rentals, also known as like the Airbnbs and things like that. I'm not too fond of them right now, especially now that it's kind of harder to go that route, but it's still doable. But there is now midterm rentals, which are geared more towards the like professionals, like traveling nurses or just, corporate people that, go to like conventions and stuff like that. Step number 4 is analysis. Analysis of your market and analysis of your property. So you want to do deep dives into the market that you are targeting. Make sure that the strategy that you picked is going to work there. For example, Airbnbs. Is the market, does the area allow Airbnbs, or like what are the regulations like? Is it going to be make it difficult for you to have a short-term rental in that area? What does the schools look like? What's the crime rate? How much rent do you think that you can get for the amount of bedrooms that your property has? How much are you going to pay for the property? What do you expect that to be? So, median sales price, purchase price, things like that. A lot of these things you could get like through Zillow.com is one. Realtor.com is another good one that you could go in there, and Zillow even has a section where you could go put a zip code in, and it pulls up the rental market, and it could tell you if it's a hot, cold, or warm market, how much the median rent is there for like a 1, 2, 3 bedroom, and gives you a good idea of the rental market, so you could do a good market analysis. And then next thing you want to analyze is, of course, the property itself, or the condition of the property, the purchase price again, how much you can get for rental income. So you're doing crunching all the numbers, doing all the math here to see how much you can make off this property. And you want to check things like cash flow and your cash on cash return and your cap rates and all that. And it's a lot of numbers and everything like that. But once you get the hang of how to calculate these numbers, it's just a quick, easy calculation. Step number 5 is your team and property management. Like a lot of people forget about the team part because you think that, okay, I'm going to manage this property myself. Or I'll just have a property manager and that's it. They do all this stuff. But there's a lot of moving parts that if you're going to manage yourself, that's a lot of people that you have to manage. You got to have like a handyman, a plumber, insurance person, a realtor, like contractors, because your handyman's not gonna be able to do everything, or you might not be able to do everything because some things require licensing and all that stuff. So you have a lot of people that you have to work with and hire. So building a team that you trust, takes some effort. Interview them, interview several people, and just keep track of them. And especially like property inspectors, I use the same one all the time because I've built that trust with them, and I trust his expertise. There's an insurance person that I work with, a realtor that I work with. Just make sure that when you are finding these people, that you're asking about like their experience. Do they have experience in what you're trying to do? Because There's a realtor that just sells houses for first time home buyers or people that are buying homes for themselves. And there's a difference between a realtor that goes out there and finds investment properties for you, because they have to have a more detailed eye when they go look at these properties or show you these properties and things like that. And I will say one tip, that even if you want to manage the property yourself, always do your numbers as if you were going to hire a property manager, because you never know if later down the line you get tired of managing it yourself and you need to hire a property manager that has you covered to already have that included. And then as far as property management, of course, you have to know how you're going to screen your tenants, how you're going to find your tenants, how are you going to collect rent, how are you going to, take their maintenance requests and, fulfill those maintenance requests. And what about evictions, all the legal stuff. And like, there's a lot that goes into managing your properties and a lot of legalities, which is one of the reasons I will always use a property manager, because that's an extra safeguard for me. And then also, it's a lot of work. Like, I want this to be as passive as possible. And so far it is. I just, get the monthly statements from them and just random maintenance requests that they'll ask me. And just when I have to set up the property, um, that's most of the work that I do, besides, finding and buying the property, and they take care of everything. And I just, get the statement every month and collect my money, right? But there is still some management that you want to make sure that you're doing, and that is tracking how your property is doing. So they send me statements every year, but there's still a few things that are not included. So it doesn't calculate, how well my property did that year. So that's, how I use cash on cash return, which I calculate myself based on, how that property did throughout the year. And so that helps me keep track on, hey, is this rental property still making me money, or is it, dragging? It might be time to sell it, and or do a 1031 exchange, cut my losses, do a 1031 exchange, and then buy another property that's actually going to be profitable. So there's a lot of management to still do, even if you have a property manager. And the last step is creating your 5-year plan, like thinking long term. One of the issues that I had at the beginning, because technically I've been investing in real estate for over 10 years, but it hasn't been until I would say the past 4 or 5 years that I actually took it seriously. And now I am actually, uh, advancing in my real estate journey, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing the first few years. And well, the first few years I didn't even know I was real estate investing. Then I figured it out, and then I was, just buying every duty station that I went to and then renting them out. But that wasn't a very, I mean, it was a strategy, but in order to accelerate a little bit faster, I needed a different strategy, which is what I'm following now. And so that's why it's important to create a 5-year plan. And the reason I like for people to set up a 5-year plan is, think of it as like starting a business. Your first 5 years is your startup phase. This is where, like, you launch, right? Your first year, you're setting yourself up, you're buying your first property, you're making saving up for your down payment and all that. So your first year is all about buying your first rental property. And then the second and third year, you're kind of like learning. You're buying another property, but you're learning. There's things to learn, believe me. And then your third and fourth year, you're kind of getting that confidence as a real estate investor, because you're probably on your second, third, possibly fourth property. And so you're gaining confidence, you're building a network, and starting to really compound your cash flow, so that way it's easier to now save up for a down payment for another property. And then by your fifth year, you're like, all right, I have, this many rentals. Now I'm ready to like start scaling and start moving forward, and where do I go next? So it's similar to when you start a business. The first 5 years you're just kind of getting the hang of setting up your business and um, getting all the logistics, building your clientele and all that stuff. And then so by the fifth year, you're like, all right, I got a good hang of this business and I'm starting to make money. Now it's time to scale the business, right? And same thing with real estate investing. The first 5 years, you're just trying to set yourself out. You're setting up that foundation, and then you actually start making money because and reinvesting it and all that. And so you want to create your 5 year plan, and also another reason I want to keep it at 5 years is because you don't know what might happen in those 5 years. Maybe you start this journey single like I did. I started off real estate investing single, and then now I'm married. So now my plan has to shift a little bit because now I have a family to think about, and it's not just my money anymore, right? So I have to think about like the household and our goals as a unit, right? And so that's why it gives you kind of that flexibility. But overall, take your time, figure out what your vision is, your goals, your strategy, all that combines for your 5 year plan. I am going to plug in my rental property bootcamp here. We go into depth in all these 6 steps. We create your 5 year plan so that way you have your roadmap. And so it is a self paced course. Again, we go through every single step in detail. Each one has its own worksheets. You also have included my rental property calculator, my rental income and expense tracker, where you can track all your properties and it will automatically calculate like your cash on cash and how much profit, and track all of that to see how profitable your properties are doing. And I also have a money plan. It's a monthly tracker and also has a yearly tracker, which has your net worth tracker, a debt tracker, and of course, where you're spending, where your money is going. So all of that is included in the course, along with a workbook, worksheets, and all of that. So if you are wanting to get into real estate investing and want to buy your first rental property, the rental property bootcamp is perfect to give you all the knowledge and help guide you through these steps. And that way you have your roadmap to your first rental property and your next 5 years. So that is linked down below. Check it out. But other than that, if you have any other questions, feel free to DM me or email me. All my contact information is listed down below. But I will see you in the next one. Bye.